Paltrocast.
Well, Damian, aside from having to talk to this guy, how is your day going so far?
Day's going great, man. Just got started a little hungover from last night, but making it. LA's a different city.
Right. Well, following your Instagram, 2023 has been the best year ever for you. Am I right?
Yeah. It's actually been a great year. Met a lot of new friends and developed new relationships I didn't think I'd really ever have. And been able to travel the world, do a lot more, and having the best year yet for sure.
Glad to hear all that. And part of, I'd assume, what makes 2023 so great is this appearance on OnlyFans TV. Am I correct about that?
Yeah. So the OnlyFans TV experience I had with Mismatch was a great opportunity, and I wasn't sure if I was going to take it at first. I was like, I don't really want to keep doing like dating experiences in a sense, but it was well worth it, and definitely glad I did it.
So when did you actually film for OnlyFans TV?
I think it was end of March, beginning of April.
Got it. So you had to keep a secret for a pretty long time.
Yeah, especially the person I was with, because we still hang out. So it's like you gotta sort of keep that balance until it airs.
Well, can I throw you a compliment or two, or this is a compliment-free interview?
Oh no, go ahead, compliment it. Let's go.
Okay, so obviously your credits are great. IMDb has a lot of the stuff, not everything. But then going through your social media and the 1.2 million Instagram followers alone, and then you go through the link tree and you see all the stuff that you got going on. I think that you work on a lot of things that the average person doesn't realize because you're so accessible and you do so many partnerships. So how does all this get done? Is there a team behind Damian Powers?
So I do have a team like that particularly helps me work on certain things, but all the brand deals stuff that come in, like I usually film and edit those myself. Sometimes I'm able to get help on that, but between that and work life and balancing everything, it does become stressful sometimes. It's all new to me. So even though I've been doing this for a few years, it still feels like it's very fresh. And I still find it very challenging at times. So I'm constantly looking for room to grow and to learn. Whether that's from another show or somebody else in the industry. But either way, it does take a toll on you sometimes. And a lot of people don't realize. They think that, oh, wow, it's just easy, being on TV and I don't even like to call myself an influencer because I don't really do as much influencing as I should. That's another goal for this year. But there's a lot that goes behind it, and still a lot to learn and a lot of growing to do on my behalf.
What was life like for you in 2019? Because the ascent kind of happened in 2020.
Yeah, so 2019 was it was a quiet time for me, and it was because I had done Love Is Blind. I filmed Love Is Blind back in 2018. So I was in a full relationship with a girl from that show. But until the show aired, we couldn't really talk about it. You know what I mean? So and our show didn't air till 2020. So I was still traveling, doing everything. I was working a full-time job, like 80, 90 hours a week sometimes. And it was great for me at that point in my life, but I knew I was sort of meant for more, and I wanted to, jump on that and see where the world would take me. So
yeah, it's kind of an accidental career path that you've had. What was the long-term plan? Was there such a thing before Love Is Blind?
No, I wasn't. I was actually on my career path. I'd been with a really good company for 5 years at that point. I was a general manager of my own, like pretty much city. So I thought that was like my long-term career. And then this opportunity happened randomly, from matching a casting producer on a dating app to talking to them on social media to getting casted for what was a social experiment. And it hadn't even been sold to the network yet. So for me, it was a lot that I had to like figure out, was I willing to give up my career for an opportunity to find love? Because the show wasn't said to be on Netflix. It wasn't said to be on a major network. So it was like, I'm taking a big risk for the long term in my lifestyle and my relationship to see if it's worth it. So I was willing to sacrifice my job for that. And I ended up sacrificing it at the end of the day, but created a whole new path that, I'm thankful for. And I've been on journeys that, some people could only dream of. So I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah. Well, growing up as somebody who watched reality TV in the 90s, people from the real world, just because they were on the real world, didn't mean that they were going to have a career after that. people go, hey, that's so-and-so from the real world. And that doesn't mean that they were going to get a record deal or production deal. In your case, again, the 1.2 million and counting followers on Instagram, the other shows after Love is Blind, et cetera, clearly there's a career. Now, in terms of what you're doing now, is that something that you want to do another 20, 30 years? Or is there a master plan where you're going to be producing things and you have business ventures going, et cetera?
Yeah, so I see reality TV as sort of instant means. I mean, my whole goal going into reality TV was not for fame or clout. Like I thought I'd gain like maybe 2,000 or 3,000 followers from Love is Blind, because the concept was like, okay, like who's gonna watch people blind date behind a wall and talk for hours,
Yeah.
right? So
I wasn't going to. No,
I didn't. I was like, there's no way this is even gonna blow up. So for me, it wasn't about any of that. It was actually about finding a good connection, relationship. So will I continue to do dating shows? Yeah, I mean, until I can find somebody, whether it's in the real world, right, or in our industry space. If I'm not dating anybody and I'm not seeing anybody in a sense, then it's like, okay, why not? But I would like to transition to more like challenge-based, competition-based shows. But long term, I'm working on some business ventures now that hopefully will, take over all this, and I'm able to get out and sort of do what I want to do, and that's give back and be able to still create a lifestyle for me and my family in the future.
we know as consumers of television that the first wave is the regular show, then we get the all-stars version of the show, then we get that cast on another reality show of the all-stars, etc. So if you want to do 8 waves of this, you can, but it's great to know that you have plans outside of all this. Now, when you're not dealing with cameras and social media, etc., what's life like for you? What are your hobbies? What can we know about you, Damian?
Yeah, so when I'm not filming, I'm an avid skier. So during the winter season, you'll catch me on the slopes somewhere in the world. I've been going to Lake Tahoe the last few years. I've always enjoyed it out there. I'm going to be doing Bell this year with one of my buddies, and so be out there for a few months on the slopes. Working out was a big passion the earlier part of my 20s, and then once I did the show, I sort of like dipped off from it. So I just got back into the fitness side of things, which took a while. So you'll catch me working out at the gym or going for a run. But traveling is obviously the biggest thing. And I mean, I just got back from a little like 3-week Euro trip and went to New York and then Florida, and then I'm back in LA. And then I'll be leaving again for Germany in a month and a half. So traveling is probably the biggest thing I do is when I'm not working or grinding outside of all of this.
Is there a destination you haven't yet been to or worked in that you're still hoping to get to?
Yeah, so I've wanted to do Croatia and sort of the Greek islands. I haven't done that yet. It's been on my list every single year, and then somebody's like, "Oh, let's do this trip instead," and I'm like, "All right, screw it." So, and then Bali's been on there as well. So Bali's I'm hoping to do that as well this year. But I do have like 2 other trips already planned, so got to figure out how to work it in there. And it sounds miserable. It's like, oh God, you got to pick between which destination you want to go to. But look, there's planning involved. There's saving, and making sure you have a great time along the way. So a lot of people are asking like, oh, like, how do you do this? And I'm like, well, I don't go out and spend $10,000 a night on a section at a nightclub either. So, but it's all balance and work. And sometimes you just got to take time to find that.
And with what you mentioned before about the working out, the fitness, does the music matter to you when you're in the midst of all that?
So some days I'm in my feels, you know what I mean? I do a dating show, it doesn't work out, and then I'm listening to beautiful girls all over the world, some slow rom-com shit. The next day I'm like, I've had a rough morning and I'm listening to just some like hard metal shit. And the next day I'm listening to hip hop R&B. So I don't really have a particular genre. It just depends on how I'm feeling that day.
So you're a secret metalhead.
I like it when I need to like lift heavy and I'm like just trying to get all my anger out. Yeah.
So what's the last concert that you went to for fun?
Stagecoach. So
okay, so country right there. So country, metal, pop, really?
Yeah, I'm from Georgia, South Georgia a little bit. So I grew up in the country. I was born in Louisiana, raised in Germany. So I've been all over. But Stagecoach was fun. I did Coachella right before that for the first time too. Had a blast there. But Stagecoach was by far the most fun I've done lately.
So to kind of recap what I've learned here, this is an accidental career that you weren't expecting, but it's panned out pretty great so far. You have a lot of goals, you have a lot of plans. Maybe we'll see you on more dating reality shows, maybe not. So that's question.
Yeah.
You're not an influencer, despite how it looks, you're not an influencer, but there's nothing wrong with being one. And I think we just have to keep following you on social media to know where you're going to be next.
Yeah, it's just, I think that's the biggest thing is like people are like, oh, influencer, like the word's so push and shoving. There are some people out there that are genuine influencers. Like they give back, they influence their audience. And that's what I consider an influencer to be. Somebody that can influence their audience and give more of a positive impact back to them. And I did it for a little bit and then I sort of stopped. And now like I don't post unless I'm like getting like I'm fucked up somewhere. And I'm like, oh, look at this view. It's crazy. You know what I mean? So I want to change that part of me. I want to find a way to use my social media to give back and to be a better individual and use my platform for more good than just personal gain. So trying to find that balance right now and working on some strategies to do that because I'm a great person. I can just be better. So my motto is if better is possible, good is not enough, and I can be better and I'm learning to be better. So.
Great answer. Well, last question before I let you go. Besides OnlyFans TV's series Mismatch, which has you in season 2, plug, what's a TV recommendation that you have, a show that we should be watching? Because every time the wife and I say, we're going to watch this, we kill it in 4 days and we go, what's next? So we're open.
So I'm big on like shows that sort of make you think. So I binged the Suits series. That was really good. I'm sure a lot of people have seen that. The Lincoln Lawyer, I just watched that recently too. That's another good show. I like critical thinking, things that are like always have an unexpected. Billions is one of my favorite shows. If you're thinking about the lavish lifestyle and the traveling and you know how like millionaires spend their money, Ballers is a great one with The Rock. Yeah, and I think that just came out on Netflix recently too. But those are some of my favorite series: Ballers, Billions, Suits. So just shows like that. Yeah.
Okay, well, you've given me a new recommendation or two, but Damian, thank you for your time and looking forward to whatever's coming next for me in the near future.
Thank you so much for having me, and I look forward to talking to you again soon, my friend.
Paltrocast.